What's up, guys?
How's it going, everyone?
Actually, this is actually a real organic. How's it going? Because Alex literally just jumped
Yeah,
in. So.
this isn't a fake this time, everybody.
I just got back from the airport, so I literally ran in here and turned on my camera about 30 seconds ago and hopped in here.
It was perfect timing.
This is a true impromptu. Yeah. What's up?
How are you guys doing, though? Enrique, Austin, what's going on?
Well, I think we're good. I want to make sure that everything is good on the stream, so hopefully everyone can see and hear us just fine.
Yeah, hey, everybody in the chat, whoever's watching, drop a little, you can hear us or something in the chat. Let us know we're all sounding great, fine and dandy.
Okay. Yeah, because I think the video looks weird as far as me, I think. But maybe it's just my screen. How does it look for you guys?
I'm watching. You look good on mine.
Okay.
There we go. Yeah.
Awesome.
There it is.
Very cool. All right. Let's get into it. Well, cool. I was basically, before we went live, I was just telling Austin, going live is stressful because I feel like everything has to be just right. Whereas when you do a video, you could just edit it a million different times and it's no big deal. So this is a little different.
I just want to respond. Jeds, I'm the captain now. And what's up, AA Ron? How you doing? Mr. Pringles over there.
Well, we got Lady Boss Nat. Hey. Joel. We got, hey. Mr. Pringles. I love it.
Queen Nat in the house.
So we left last episode with kind of like a little bit of a cliffhanger. Seemed like, Alex, your marriage may have been a little bit of peril. We're all very worried about it. So everybody go buy some MDB.
yeah. Support my marriage by buying MDB. Like that, I need that NFT that I spent way too much on to pull through. And I mean, it's doing great, actually.
It is, actually.
Dude, they minted out today in less than an hour.
Dude.
Bro, and it's so crazy because in a bear market, right? We had Hydra Wells, when they opened their mint up, they minted out in like 2 days. And it was like, what, 5,000 NFTs? So like they were super, that's a lot of money. And then we had MDB just mint out in less than an hour for the rest of their NFTs. Man, it's crazy.
Yeah. So Alex, your marriage is in good shape then.
It is. She still doesn't understand why, but I've reassured her things are going well. And she's just like, so that you bought a super fancy picture for like $750 to $900. And I'm like, it's a utility NFT. And she's like, what does that mean? And I started getting into it, and her eyes immediately glazed over, and she's just like, don't ruin us, please. Speaking of those NFTs, I have one that I was able to talk the MDB team into giving for one of my community members. So one of my audience members, viewers, look out for a video in the next, probably sometime in the next 2 to 2.5 weeks. I will start a giveaway that'll last probably a week long, where I'm going to be giving away one of those MDB NFTs. I think they're worth almost like $1,000 now, maybe more since their secondary market, if I'm not mistaken. But so that's one of my biggest giveaways. One of my biggest giveaways ever.
That's a big giveaway. I think they're worth almost 800 now. Plus, the rewards given away every 30 days. So
yeah. So I'm excited to do that one. So thanks MDB team, Danny, Mina, for hooking me up and my audience up, allowing me to do a giveaway like that.
All right, so
it takes 2.5 weeks to watch the video.
Yeah, that's true.
You got that right, Jed. Man, I'll try to keep that one under 20 minutes.
That would be good. If not, there's always 2x or 3x or something like that.
That's true.
Well, good. So I'm glad to hear that all is good, Alex.
I also had to readjust my giveaway strategy because my old strategy wasn't working. People were trying to exploit it. So I'm trying different giveaway platforms. Right now I'm experimenting with Gleam.io. And if this current giveaway goes well, I'll use it going forward for my other ones. But, I didn't have a good verification process. Anybody could just spam comments on my YouTube videos for my giveaways to get entered into it. And I had people, exploiting the system in a few different ways. And like, I found like one or
Oh
two
my
people
God.
would have like half the entries. And I had to, it took me hours and hours to filter through it all. So I'm just going to use something like Gleam rather than do the whole pulling the stuff out of a hat and,
The last
So-
giveaway I did, I had to double pay because I got scammed. So this guy scammed me out of the $50 giveaway. Yeah.
Oh,
He
I
somehow
remember
went in
that.
there. Yeah, he went into YouTube comments and somehow changed things and put himself as the winner. David was the winner. Changed his picture and everything. So yeah, maybe the next one I'll do something like Gleam. So
someone got me that way too. They socially engineered it, and the winner, I was about to send this person like $500. They were the big winner, and somebody socially engineered it so like it was so seamless how they like intercepted our communications, and then I don't know, it was super tricky, and I sent them like a test amount like $1 or $2 before I sent the big amount over, just to be like, hey, did you get it? And like right before I sent the big thing over, I just like, something doesn't feel right about this, and I rechecked everything, and it was somebody who had changed things just ever so slightly to where I was almost duped into giving the wrong person $500, and then I would have had to give the $500 out of my own pocket on top of that to the right person. Oh, that would have been bad.
yeah, it sucks getting scammed, but for me it was just $50, so no big deal. It's fine.
Bro, I looked up the floor price for the Phoenix Fire Club NFTs. 4.4 BNB, which is right now $1,561.
Alex, text your wife. Text your wife right now, Alex. She'll love that.
Bro,
First, I'm
amazing.
canceling the giveaway.
You just made a double. You just doubled your money. You just doubled your money,
dude. That's crazy. That's like my first NFT like speculative win. I guess it's not a win until I realize those gains. But
right.
I'm echoing on somebody's.
Yeah, you are. I think it's on Austin. I think it might be you.
Is it me?
It might be.
I have headphones.
Huh? Because
That's weird.
I'm muted. But yeah, I heard the echo too when Alex was talking.
Interesting.
Yeah, I was waiting for you to just the right spot to let you know, hey, I think you're echoing.
What about now? Do we sound Gucci now?
Testing. Yeah, I still hear my echo.
What the heck?
I think it's just Alex.
So weird.
Can y'all hear me if I do this?
Yeah.
That means I don't need the microphone. So it might be me.
It's just for looks.
I may need to mute the microphone. Yeah.
Yo, so I wanted to ask this
Mr. Pringles.
question. I wanted to ask this question, kind of strategically at the beginning here, while people were building on. We got a decent little build up now. So, what do you all think about? Because we just talked about the little MDB NFTs, because they're, like you said, Alex, they're like the utility of the space of NFTs. How do you all see these NFTs going forward in the crypto market, where it's a utility NFT? Because I was just having this conversation with somebody where there's a real fine line with the SEC when it comes to a security versus an NFT, right? Where you have an NFT and you're like you're crowdfunding money, and then you're sharing the revenue with NFT holders. And what a lot of people are doing to get around this little SEC thing is using offshore accounts and stuff like that. But man, I don't know. It's like, I still think it's a very, very gray area that I don't want to personally explore if I were to be an NFT project. So what do you all think about that?
It's so gray, and I find it pretty scary.
Yeah.
Especially with some of the news we heard today. I don't know if you guys heard, but the developer of Tornado Cash was arrested today in Amsterdam.
I heard that. Yeah.
Which I mean, that just feels wrong, doesn't it?
It's crazy. It goes against DeFi principles.
Well, and it's like, I don't know who or how the statistic came about, because at the end of the day, Tornado Cash is literally supposed to be private. So I don't know how they aggregated this statistic, but I remember it said only like I think 20% of Tornado Cash users were either scammers, money laundering, like doing it in some type of negative way. And again, I don't know how they would even detect that or conglomerate that statistic, but the majority of the users were people, just everyday people that were just wanting to have privacy. And, I think everybody is entitled to financial privacy to an extent. And it's like, where do we find that middle ground where we can have decentralized financial privacy, but also hold scammers accountable? And it's such a, I don't even have an answer for that, honestly.
I definitely don't have an answer for that.
Yeah.
I don't either.
But it does
because
suck. It does suck. And I don't think it's right for this dude to be arrested for literally just having a platform where people can practice financial privacy.
Yeah. It felt wrong, and we'll see if this is just the start of a bunch of news like that. So it's pretty concerning, actually. So we'll see what happens, but not much you can do. I've never used Tornado Cash, but I heard someone sent a bunch of Ethereum to all these like famous actors and actresses that had their ETH Addy listed.
Yeah.
And then that way they've interacted with Tornado Cash. What are you gonna do now? So pretty interesting stuff, guys. It really is.
Yeah, I heard the same thing, that they dusted some random person dusted a ton of people with Tornado Cash, so that way it's just gonna make the investigation that much harder.
Much harder.
We got Andreas. We have Andreas Tompros from the chat. They said, "Hello, gents. Any good projects now that you were looking into?" Well, funny story. All right. So if you all watched the last podcast, right, literally around the middle of the end, I was talking about how Horde was like something I'm still super speculative on because I don't know. I don't understand how the LMS system works. And, it's been going on for a while now. Immediately after this podcast, okay, Alex kind of set us down and was kind of going through the LMS stuff. I actually got a Dune statistic graph where it shows their revenue and how much money's coming in versus going out. And that's pretty much the only gap I needed left to really make a decision for myself. And I put in $5,000 of Horde. So that's, that's a project I'm excited about.
But it's just funny because you were the guy saying, I don't know about this. And Alex and I were saying, it looks pretty good. So yeah, that's a good one. I mean, we can do a quick screen share real quick and look at Alex's little trick, right? Which is like 3 steps. If I could find Horde, we could do it. There we go. And I think we were it was at 1.7 million when we checked last week.
Million.
So all right, let's see where we are now. 1.8.
Right now they're at 1.8. Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
3 months ago they were at like 1.6.
Well, can I share my screen here?
After 2 or 3 more months, the Horde LMS system has actually increased in money.
It really has.
I will drop this link in the chat. So if you enable my screen there, Enrique, everybody watching right now, I'm going to drop this link in the chat. You can actually do this with me. This is what kind of basically told me, okay, you can see some cash flow here.
I'm trying to give you control. How did I give it to Alex last time? I forgot already.
So you just press the little, so on your left-hand side, you just press that little toggle button where you see my screen. There we go.
Okay.
All right. So here, this is their cash inflow versus outflow and their balance. So ever since they started, they've been going steady and up and to the right. And this is their cash flow from their LMS system here. That little blockchain analytic that Enrique just shared with you all, this is kind of a confirmation of that. So you see right now they're literally at almost 1.8 million, just like the blockchain showed. You can see their cash flow inflow versus outflow and their daily net. So today they had an inflow of $25,000, it looks like here. And it's just, dude, some days obviously they're losing a little bit, but other days, I mean, they're just obviously outweighing the losses, and it's crazy.
It is very interesting. And again, we're at 4 months now, something like that. So, I mean, it really has done good as far as the test of time. So we will see. I mean, obviously I'll A lot of people are very curious about it because of Liquid Capital and other projects that are also implementing it. But yeah, so far so good. It's been pretty impressive. And we will see. I mean, again, guys, we're under like such tough times as far as like the macro. We're still basically in a bear market. The trend is your friend, and the trend is still very bearish. We're just in a kind of bullish little trend, mini trend right now, but it's still a bearish market, and Hoard's been able to do so well. So so it just makes you pretty confident once things get better or kind of stabilize. So it's just going to be weird though, because like one of the thoughts I had was, well, is every DeFi project going to try something like this? And and if so, like then I thought, well, why haven't some of the projects that are already in need of doing it, why hadn't they done it? So I actually reached out to a couple of devs to get their feedback about that. They told me it's really hard, especially a lot of these projects, they renounced the contract because back in like January, December, March, February, I don't know if you guys remember, renouncing contracts was like a big deal. Like everybody wanted to see renounced contracts. And now it's not. Now it's considered like a donkey move to do it, because if you denounce the contract, you lose a lot of control and you're not going to be able to, be as agile and so forth. So, so they told me that, yeah, if the contracts are renounced, obviously you can't bring in the Hoard system, or even if it's not, it's really hard to do it. You basically have to change everything. So, do you guys think that this is going to be a thing that we start seeing with all projects?
Somebody in the chat asked about Spring Game, and Spring Game did just move over to the LMS system. And I think they're somewhere between like 90 cents and $1.10. I don't know the exact numbers. I'd have to check the announcements. But yeah, they moved over to LMS system. And that seems to make a lot of sense because SPR token launched at $1. And, they have this whole NFT tree system that pays out in SPR tokens in the rewards. So having something more stable for those rewards means kind of more consistent returns that you can expect as you hold on to these NFTs, rather than like speculating if SPR is going to tank while you're holding the tree. Then it becomes way more risky that way, where the LMS just kind of smooths things out and allows you to get more consistent returns, so you can kind of plan out your strategy a little better that way.
Interesting.
Well, I'll say this, Enrique, that I don't see every project using this because it kind of has to fit the culture of the project and the goal of the project, So like for something like Spring Game, where they have that really big philanthropic type of goal of planting trees and stuff like that, and the passive income sides is kind of like, and I even tweeted this today, the passive income is like a side effect of the success that they're doing within the DeFi projects or in the DeFi space. Because what we see right now is, I tell people this all the time, and I've even noticed it, and I'm even guilty of it. When in the bull market, I was spoiled that, you could throw anything at the market, you'd make money. But if you see a project come out in this bear market that is just like advertising that passive income is the whole reason they exist, they will fail. The passive income that these projects need to make is from a side effect of the success that they're doing within the DeFi space. It's the same way with anything, right? And that is like so crucial right now. So when it comes to this LMS system, it works for Hoard because one, that's them. That's what they're trying to do, is to create price sustainability with their project. But for something like a project that it just wants to have a token that is like a representation of the ownership of the project and the success of the project for what they do, will have price appreciation, that might actually hinder them if they want to have an attractive chart that attracts newer investors and stuff like that. So I think as long as projects use the LMS system in the right way and that fits their goals, they're going to use it. But I still think personally, if you have a project that uses the LMS system that it just doesn't fit with their culture, but they want to use it because that's what's trendy, I still think they have the potential to fail. And I've actually seen this. I'm not going to be name dropping a lot of projects because I don't want to be considered FUD or anything like that. But we have actually seen this with one project that recently came out today, actually, that they're getting in kind of a pickle as we speak.
Really
interesting, huh?
Yeah, and I agree with you. If it doesn't make sense for their business model and their tokenomics, it shouldn't. They shouldn't use it, right? They should use it if it makes sense logistically and not because it's trendy, because it's a mechanism, right? It's a tokenomic mechanism. It's not a marketing play. It could be a marketing play if the mechanics make sense for your project and your tokenomics, but if it doesn't make sense, don't do it. Right?
Yeah. And you know, Joel said it's not going to work for everyone. I think he's right, but you know, at the same time, we're seeing it used in different ways. So I think liquid capital is the first time that it's been used with a rebase protocol. Is that right? So that's you know,
yes.
Anyone that tells you for sure that's going to work. Yeah.
And Mr. Pringles just dropped a really, really good point. So shout out to you. They said LMS is not an end all be all, though. And absolutely, you should not, just like how I said, projects should not be just saying we're here to make passive income. That is exactly what I meant, is if you just see a project suddenly come out saying, hey, we're using the LMS system, but that's like it. They're not like doing anything else. And the LMS system is there to help their price, but they're actually so they can focus on what they're doing. If their whole tunnel vision is LMS, absolutely, that's not an end all be all. Horde is being successful not just because of their LMS, but that is their product. That is the value they're adding to the DeFi space. And we're seeing passive revenue generating in the project, and that's what's making them successful. So that is their value add, and the passive income everybody is seeing right now is the side effect of that. But if I had Project Austin and I was just like, hey guys, look, I'm partnering with LMS, I'm partnering with Horde. Okay, what is Project Austin doing though? I'm partnering with LMS. You're going to get passive income.
Right.
It's not going to work. It's not going to work at all. And that is a red flag right off the bat that I would tell anybody to look out for, especially with LMS coming in.
That would have worked back in January and February, though. It would have worked really well.
Absolutely. Absolutely it would. Oh, totally. Like I said, you could throw $5 at Elon Musk roof token and, you know, you probably make money.
Yeah, I mean, I still remember like in February, I think it was February, like Uranus, it's 7x on launch day, and we lost Austin. It happens every time. He'll come back. He'll come back. There he is. And then at like 17x, like 3 weeks later, and it just, you know, it was a good time. That was a good time. I miss those. I miss a lot of liquidity in DeFi. I miss that so much. I can't wait to see that again. That was so much fun. And it's going to be interesting to see how it goes. No, it's going to be great. I can't wait. I cannot wait. So what was that, Alex?
Hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I was messing with my microphone because of that echo. I don't know, but
it's still happening.
I don't hear it.
I hear it a little bit.
Oh, okay.
No, I think it's gone.
It's gone. Oh, nice. Yeah, the Horde LMS system's cool, and like that's a great product that they're offering. You know, it's a closed source application that they're leasing out to other projects, and I think I've heard from different projects that it's basically they're charging for how difficult the integration is and how much hand holding needs to be done from their team to get everything going. But I mean, that's a great revenue source for them to give back to their own LMS system, which just extends the runway for their project and whatever their business model's doing. As we showed, their LMS has gone up in value in, you know, because earlier on we had TA people saying, you know, this whole LMS system's at 1.6. And in 2 or 3 more months, it's going to be depleted and it's going to be gone. But in 2 or 3 more months, it actually went up. So
how would TA apply though? Like,
they're just like looking at the volume and how much people were selling versus what was in the LMS and the liquidity. And they're saying if this selling continues, then it'll drain the LMS. But like, I don't know what happened, but the LMS has gone up. The liquidity's gone up. So
yeah, you
it's
can't apply
for them.
to
One thing,
yeah,
Cyril, I don't know if everybody knows Cyril from Parrotly, but this dude is a trading master. Okay, this dude is a really, really good guy. He did a TA workshop in the Cardinal House Discord, and it was great. Loved it. And one thing he said, because I do not want people to think I created this, I'm not a trader, I'm still learning. But he said that TA in his experience doesn't really apply unless you have these things with tons of liquidity, like super deep liquidity. You know, like you can't, and that's why you can't, it's like really hard to apply TA to a DeFi project that just launched even 5 months ago, you know, like with just a little bit of liquidity compared to like the stock market or, you know, like all these major players in the world. Like TA is like, and I would love to hear your thoughts on that, EAM, because you're the trading guy in this. And
Yeah, no, I mean, I bring it up. I think I bring it up every week in my DeFi weekly recap, and I always kind of chuckle because TA should not be as accurate as it has been with Tomb Forks, for example, but it has been, and these are very illiquid assets. They're very young assets, so traditional technical analysis should not be that solid. But for whatever reason with Tomb Forks, it's been dead on for months now. I can't explain it. I don't know why. Now with rebase protocols, and I tried this my first couple months in DeFi, it doesn't work. Just stop. Just stop trying to make it work. I see people in Discord trying to make that work. I still see people trying to, apply TA to like Sphere, and I know that Sphere is not doing the rebasing anymore, but it's still been a rebase protocol so much that all the data about it was based on it being a rebase protocol. So applying TA to it right now makes no sense. Someone asked me the other day in Discord, hey, is Sphere going to go down to, 0.0055 cents from a TA perspective? So I went ahead and gave my answer based on the TA, but as I was doing, I was like, this is silly. I'm wasting time. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, TA should not be applied to every single asset. But it still works a lot. Like, I mean, if I was to just like do a quick screen share and just show you a couple of examples, like it's with Tomb Forks, at least it's still working. Okay, well, here with BTC, we see it. It's a nice range. This one's pretty obvious. Nice little range there. But like, if I was to like, because I was looking at wine earlier today, and I did notice, I was like, wow, it's just got out of this range. If you look at this right here, it just got out of this range. And look
I've
at
heard
that.
People talking about buying wine right now.
I mean,
I heard it today.
Like, what a coincidence that the second it crossed but then again, it did cross the range there, cross the creek, and then it back tested it, and it didn't really keep it as support. Maybe if we look at the 1 day, maybe it did hold a support. Let's see, maybe it did. Okay, you see, if you look at the 1 day, it did hold a support. So it's been really interesting to apply TA to DeFi, but I think with DeFi, the most important spot that I think most people are still not doing right is that you just got to be super patient and wait for value spots. And that's why, and I think is in a pretty fine value spot. Again, we're just three guys talking. This is not financial advice. We're not sponsored by anyone for this video or anything like that, but I do think that wine's in a value spot. But we talked about frozen walrus, right? It was in a beautiful value spot last week and in a beautiful value spot again this week. It was like,
dude, if you got in W share yesterday, you'd be up. You'd be at 200% right now. Silly, dude.
Bro,
almost.
I love crypto.
Yeah, and like
crypto,
like EMP. If you got in EMP in any fashion like a week ago, like you're up like a 25-30%, and EMP like is doing solid. So I don't know if you guys are noticing that there seems to be a little bit of an outflow from DeFi projects into layer ones, because the market overall seems to be pumping a bit in the cryptocurrency markets. So I see some DeFi money going to these layer ones because people are seeing those kind of going up, because the Dixie kind of went down a bit. And when the Dixie goes down, Bitcoin is inverse to that. And then the altcoins go with Bitcoin as well. So like we saw an altcoin pump. Like I think ETH went up like 12+% yesterday. So anybody who has an EMP, which is pegged to ETH, ETH is anybody in EMP went up with ETH as well. And then also you can farm that then with like LPs and their detonator. If you guys are into that thing, that's pretty cool. So I was looking at that. I heard people talking about it, and I'm like, okay, well, I kind of want to move some stuff into layer one exposure, because I think ETH's probably going to 3,000 eventually. Not financial advice. It's me just speculating, but like it's getting there eventually. So
Alex, sorry to interrupt. You touched on three things that I think we can dive really in a deep way into. So first of all, what is a detonator exactly? Why is it good for a protocol? Why should we care?
Oh, God, dude, there's so much going on in the detonator. God, from my understanding, and I might
it's
butcher
amazing
this,
liquidity pool.
Like it allows you to have, even if you're a small position, it gives you like a daily reward, and then it also gives you like entry into like a lottery system, and then there's also like the big winner, whoever like makes the biggest buy that day or something, I think, gets like an equal amount as a reward or something. So at the end of the day, you see people like fighting over like who can buy the most, and
Mhm.
it really just like drives volume, drives excitement, and then that money kind of gets split up between the big winner who bought the most, and then also the lottery. I have a guy in
Okay.
my community, by the way. You guys don't know this. I didn't make an announcement, but one of my friends in my community, he won like $45,000 last week in the detonator. He didn't have like much money in there at all. Like I think like a couple $100. He won $45,000. He's like, dude, this just changed my life. I don't know. I don't even know what to do. He's like, he's like, he asked me, he's like, what should I do about taxes? I'm like, bro, I don't know. Ask Enrique here, dude. I'm figuring that out myself this year. I might get that coin tracker thing Austin talked about last week. So
Oh,
like,
that coin tracker thing sounds good. Yeah.
so when he told me about that detonator thing, I was like, man, I should look into that. I started looking into it. I started asking around, and then somebody else was saying, after the whole CPI thing that just happened, where they're saying inflation's stagnating and things are looking good for the markets overall. And we saw that little pump there, and it might keep going. I wanted to get
It
some
might.
exposure to like ETH and some of the more solid altcoins, in addition to my Bitcoin holdings. So I'm like, okay, I took somebody's advice, not financial advice, and they were like, you can get exposure to ETH through EMP because it's pegged to it and it's been real solid. And then also it's making, depending on how you do it, you're getting the EMP/ETH LP, and then like the E share BNB LP when you're farming it. And then also they're doing magic farm auto compounding vaults. So you can take one of those LPs and put it in the auto compounding vault, and it just snowballs on itself. I got so much in those auto compounding vaults, man, in Magic. I got like Walrus stuff in there. I got EMP stuff in there. I got grape stuff in there. So I don't know. I love it. It's like so hands off. I don't have to do anything, and every day I go in and it's just like keeps growing.
No, that's fantastic. So you hit on a few things there. I think the first one you hit on when you talked about the Dixie, which measures the strength of the dollar. I think a lot of people just define it as, well, money coming out of Bitcoin would go into the US dollar and vice versa, right? But I think one of the reasons why a lot of people don't apply, for example, TA correctly when leveraging a chart like the Dixie is because they don't realize that the Dixie is so much more than that. So, for example, let's just give an example from this week. The CPI numbers for Japan were very weak. So that's going to put their banks and their version of the Fed in a spot where they're going to have to dilute and debase the yen. So what is that going to do? Well, it's going to strengthen the dollar. Then we just saw that the inflation numbers and the energy costs in Europe keep rising. I told Austin before we went live, right now it looks like Spain's like at 12, 13, 14% inflation. So what do all those things do? They also strengthen the dollar. And then if you see global trade starting to kind of reduce more and more and more, well, what happens? Well, the US dollar is the currency of the world, right? So you'll have a scarcity of the US dollar if there's less trades. So that's also going to affect the chart. So you need to keep all these things in your mind when you're evaluating a chart. And sometimes it's so much more than what people are thinking, right? Because the Dixie really is going to be driven by so many different factors. I just listed 3 or 4. There's like
for those
20
who
of them.
don't know,
I could do this all night.
The Dixie is like the dollar compared to a basket of world currencies. So it's like the dollar compared to all of the other currencies, like main currencies in the world. And so the dollar's doing good compared to the aggregate of all the other world currencies, then the Dixie goes up. If the other world currencies are doing better in comparison to the dollar, it goes down. And a lot of people use that as an inverse indicator for Bitcoin and cryptocurrency markets.
Yeah, but it's actually so much more layered than that. And that's why a lot of people have to be careful. They're like, oh, what happened? The Dixie was supposed to go down and Bitcoin didn't go up. Why?
And it's not perfect either. And like a lot of people that I follow on YouTube, they also use like the 10-year yield in conjunction with the Dixie to determine risk levels in the market. So they can use that to determine if they should be in risk on or risk off assets. And if the risk levels get too high, people start moving out of stocks and crypto and into like stables or short positions, versus if the risk levels are super low, like when they're just printing cash like crazy, then people will be sitting in highly inflationary things like stocks and crypto versus like heavy metals and stables and things like that.
Exactly.
Precious
All right,
metals.
looks like I think America Money was talking about the lottery, biggest deposit. Not sure what he's talking about. I guess is this back
That's
to the detonator?
That's the
Oh, he's
detonator.
talking about the
Okay.
Yeah,
detonator.
Austin, you
Okay.
said you had more information on the detonator and stuff like that, because I probably butchered it. I only read through the white paper like real quick
Well,
the other day.
So the main premise behind the detonator, and this is why I love EMP, and I try to do at least one EMP video like per month, or if not like two on my channel, because I love the intricacies of the project in general. But with the detonator, this is why it's so genius, right? Is you have EMP, which is the algorithmic, and it's not an algorithmic stablecoin the way it tries to maintain a dollar. It's just their algorithmic stablecoin that is paired to Ethereum. Okay. This is their liquidity pool that they have for EMP. So instead of the project providing liquidity for this exchange, you have people voluntarily dumping large amounts of money into the liquidity pool every single day and locking it. That's what America Money was talking about, where it locks liquidity.
Okay.
Because when you put money into the detonator, you only get 1%. Well, it's actually up to 1% every single day. It's not exactly 1%. It's like 0.8 to 1, and it slides depending on how you compound and claim and all that stuff. But you get dispersions each day from what you put in there. And that's how it like literally locks liquidity. I mean, you see people trying to snipe the lottery. I mean, you'll have anywhere from $300,000 to like, I think one time I seen like a $600,000 injection into the liquidity pool in one day. And it's like, that's why it's like so powerful, right? And then in the detonator, where it's incentivized for people to come there and either compound and claim once a day because you have that 24-hour timer, they have a banner ad. And I love talking about this. I know some people that probably know what I'm about to say. They're probably tired of me hearing about it, but I love it. That banner ads that drives free revenue that has no relation to investor volume. So there's your like fighting the Ponzonomics of what these projects are. There's like real revenue coming in. Plus now where the e-share is, and that's their token they have. That's the share of the protocol. That's the one that's super volatile in these tomb forks. They their e-share is paired with MDB Plus, and MDB Plus thrives on volatility, so that way the ever increasing floor price of MDB Plus happens. They have AJ has a bot that trades on doing arbitrages when it comes to that e-share and MDB Plus when that happens, and that feeds revenue into the treasury. Like it's crazy. It's the dude is literally a genius when it comes to that, and I think that's why MD. And I'm not sitting here trying to sell anybody or anything like that. It's just I love seeing projects actually work in the DeFi space, and that's why I think EMP. When people are like, "How is EMP?" like the only tomb fork that's really been thriving in this market. And they broke peg a few times, but overall, them Grape, that's really the only. And Walrus, we're talking about Walrus, but that's a little newer, but
pretty good. Yeah.
But EMP is one of the longest standing tomb forks, right? And then they have branched out and done a few things on their own that separates them from just the generic tomb fork, such as the detonator, like we see. So yeah, like I think that project has definitely done things that make it unique to them. Like that's the example of if you're going to fork something, fork it, but add your own unique twist. And that's why, again, I think that's why they're so successful right now.
The ad revenue thing is genius. I don't know, like Drip doesn't do that. Everybody's going to their Drip faucet every day, clicking hydrate or whatever, or claim. And that's like the detonator. You have to go there every day to do something, and it forces you to load the page with an advertisement on it. They get a tiny little bit of revenue from it, and then they give that back to the protocol as a form of revenue, where it's like most tomb forks don't have revenue streams, at least not a lot of the ones that we've seen come out. So it's just like it's like it seems like such a simple idea, and it's not probably a crazy amount of ad revenue, but it's something that can go back into feeding the protocol. I think it's just clever. I don't know why Drip doesn't do it. Any place that you have to click a button to claim, like a lot of these other tomb forks, you have to claim every day your share tokens or your boardroom, whatever it's printing, and then you have to click claim. Put ad banners. I know it's like not the best for user experience, but we're here for money, right? We're here to make some money. So if it helps these protocols that I'm in do better and last longer,
No, Coin Market Cap does it. CoinGecko does it. No, it's not a horrible idea.
Yeah.
Hey guys,
Yeah.
so we're getting a little behind on the questions. So first of all, thank you so much to Vibe Check for the kind words, and Suzanne, and Andres had a question that I want to get to, but it looks like America Money kind of came in with the heat a little bit, made some pretty strong comments. So Frozen Walrus, he said Frozen Walrus and Amp are the only good forks right now. Wow. Because I would definitely disagree. I think there's a few others I really like. I still like Grape. I think they'll be fine. I think it's probably a value spot. I love Serenity Capital. I don't know if America Money is familiar with that project.
We'll need to talk more about Serenity. I saw your video on it. I knew nothing about them before your video. Like that your video like piqued my interest on that one. So we'll have to talk later more about that.
Yeah, their supply is super low, 10,000 shares. The share token's only 10,000 and the DAO controls like 2,200 of it. I mean, and they're now in ABAX, so they're in Ethereum, Avalanche, of course, Phantom. They're now going to go to BSC next. And after that, Polygon, after that, Optimism. Are you kidding me? Like, I don't know. I'd be curious to see what America Money thinks about that project. Maybe it just wasn't on his radar just yet. Andres asked.
Can I say something real quick? Can I say something real quick about Frozen Walrus? For those who don't know, they are doing this back to peg campaign. I think they're using the same back to peg code that Ames DeFi used. And it worked super well for Ames DeFi. Got them back to peg. It was awesome. So Frozen Walrus is doing it, and all you have to do is like stake USDCE, and you get like 3 to 5% return daily during this back to peg campaign. And the risk is it's a tiered tax system. So if you withdraw when it's at like 80% to peg, it's a 20% withdrawal tax on your USDCE. If it's 90% to peg, if it's 90 cents to $1, you pay 10% tax. If it's at peg, you pay 0 tax. If it's above peg, you pay 0 tax. So everybody just piles in a bunch of USDCE. The treasury is just printing out 3 to 5% in wrapped AVAX and W share. And so it's printing out. Like I made like 20 to 40 bucks already today. I put like 1,500 bucks. Like it's a big position for me, by the way. So I'm like, but I like Lame Hillbilly, right? Personally, I think he's a solid dude.
Drop a well in the chat for Alex.
Yeah, I think he's a solid dude. So like I don't think he's about to like rug the treasury and run off, right? So I don't know. I put it in there. I think they're gonna get back to peg, not financial advice. I saw the same code kick ass for Ames DeFi, getting them back to peg. And they're at like 95 cents. So Walrus is almost there. And I've made, I don't know, almost made 10% probably by the end of today. I'll have made 10%. So if I withdraw right now, like I'd still do well. But like if it gets to peg, then I'm going to be up like 10% in like 2 days. If it takes a while for them to keep getting to peg, it's printing right now. Not financial advice, but I'm putting it out there just as like anybody's looking for a stable farm that's printing right now. Check out Walrus's back to peg campaign. I'm in it personally, so
America Money just said they're 11K from peg, so pretty interesting. And I didn't mention Magic. I also love Magic because they have a real utility. All right, guys. So as far as a question that I wanted you guys to answer, Austin, Andres was asking about 100 days /Sphere. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I actually just yesterday finished scripting a video that I'm going to be doing, highlighting the partnership that they did. And with 100 days and Sphere, and keep in mind, this is a disclaimer. When I say anything and I'm referencing crypto and I say long-term or anything like that, I'm not using long-term in the same preface that I would use it for real estate or stocks. All right. We're talking about crypto long-term, which is totally different. It's still risky. But for me personally, in my personal portfolio, I view both 100 days and Sphere, especially now they're deflationary. They have no is a killer too for well, they just took away their rebases. 100 days did. Then Sphere, obviously everybody knows they took away their rebases, so they're a completely deflationary project now. I think I view them as a long-term play because 100 days they're doing something completely different than Sphere. So 100 Days is trying to bridge the gap between the real business world and DeFi through real estate and through gaming. They've already got their little Orbit partnership. They made some pretty famous games, like the one they always like to reference is the Kung Fu Panda game. I'm not a big like gamer in that area, so I know some people like it. I've just never really been a fan of those types of games, but they made that. And then as far as the real estate side goes, they want to make the Astro token that gap to help real estate transactions. They're going to be partnering with these brokers, and then down the line, they're going to release more info. But essentially, they're going to make it to where right now in America, it takes about 1 to 2 months to close on a real estate transaction, by average, sometimes more, sometimes less, but on average, it's about 1 to 2 months. If you could use the power of the blockchain, okay, and use what their whole goal is and make it into like a week where you have proof of ownership right here on the blockchain, you don't have to go through any of that stuff or anything like that. I think it's going to be a very, very powerful play long term with Astro and 100 Days. And then for Sphere, they're trying to take advantage of liquidity and governance, right? Their project at the end goal, like the 10,000 foot goal, is to be a massive governance token where if you hold Sphere, you indirectly have this massive governance capture of all these different things on Polygon. So it'll be like where they'll have, instead, like everybody's heard of the curve wars, they're going to have the Sphere wars where all these projects will want to accumulate and massively accumulate the Sphere tokens. So that way they have a governance say in all these different, different protocols and stuff like that. So when it comes to Sphere, that's why I say it's a long-term play with that, is once they have all these things set in place by next year and stuff, and they have all the deflationary things kicking in where they're constantly doing buybacks and burns, I see both of them being pretty lucrative, especially in the bull market when that kicks off again. I mean, yeah. So I'm holding both. Disclaimer again, this is subjective because I'm holding both Sphere and 100 Days, but I see both of them doing really well in the years come. But I could be wrong.
Did you see
right?
I'm not. Did you see the action on Astro within the last couple hours? Enrique, you want to pull up Astro?
I did not.
Yeah, somebody pumped it up to like
4%.
Somebody pumped it up to like 0.00195. Wow.
Holy.
And then a bunch of people, took some profit there, but
as they should though, as they should, because technically when you see a big old, I mean, that's even worse than a shooting star. When you see something like that, when the wick is bigger than the body, that's usually a take profit spot, guys. Like that's just like how to trade 101. Just remember that. If you remember anything from me today,
we're not cult leaders here.
If the wick is bigger than the body, that's usually a sign to sell. Just saying. But yeah, that is very interesting. And then from a technical, and Austin, you covered the fundamentals of Sphere really, really nicely. That's really cool. I didn't know a lot of the stuff you said. But from just like if you look at just the chart, I mean, it's still like the equivalent to catching a falling knife. So, you say it's a long-term play. I look at this and I think maybe it is a long-term play. Absolutely. But I just think to myself, I think I can get in on this long-term play much, much cheaper from what the chart shows, because it's still basically just doing nothing but trending down with like
in a downward trend
with there's like nothing telling me here it's going to stop. And I'm not trying to FUD Sphere. I'm just talking about it technically. I think, that's kind of like the value I add to today's channel is just technically I just can't see a buy here. I can't justify a buy based on that. Now the fundamentals they do sound pretty solid, especially long term. I guess it's a very long term play. But technically, I just see this and think, hells no. Alex, what are your thoughts?
Well, see that, and this is an amazing. Before you get into this, Alex, this is an amazing point where that's why I said when I say long term in crypto, that's why it, like in a stock world, right, or something like that, where you're looking at the chart, absolutely. But I'm like in crypto, I tell people this all the time, right? We're kind of like angel investors where we're taking bets on the team's ability to follow through long term. So that's where, like, when I say long term, I'm completely gambling on the team. Absolutely. The chart looks terrible. Even for Astro, it looks terrible too. But long term, that's what I say when I say like a long term hold. But what you think, Alex?
I don't actually know enough about Sphere, I think, to comment in an educated manner, other than, the chart looks questionable right now. And I know they stopped rebasing, and I know they changed their tax structure a little bit since the last time I was looking at them. And then I also heard about the partnership with Astro or 100 Days Venture. So I was looking at Astro in terms of that sphere pump because they turned off the rebasing, and I'm not sure what they're going to do with their taxes. So that's about all I know about it. I'm probably not going to touch either at the moment until I know more personally. So you guys would probably be better to comment on that stuff.
Oh yeah. If I was like a new person with not holding Sphere or Astro at all, totally. Yeah. I wouldn't get into it right now just because there's no rebasing. There's no like incentive to just hold the token passively. So absolutely. I totally agree with both of y'all. Like I would wait until there's a solid entry point where you see kind of a trend reversal in any of it. But where I already have a lot of tokens in both Sphere and Astro, I'm just holding it because, you know, I see it long term, and you know I probably would take a little bit of a loss in both up. Just in Astro and Sphere, I'm still up, but you know I'm just holding on to it for the hopes that they follow through with what they have planned.
Yeah. So American Money
actually tried
cult leader. Go ahead.
Oh,
Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. I tried to trade the news on Astro and Sphere, and I butchered it. I bought in like a week or two, like I don't know, like a week or two ago or something, when they were still rebasing, and then the rebases stopped, and like the price just kept going down, and I'm like, oh crap. And like I sold yesterday because the Frozen Walrus back to peg campaign was looking so good. I was just like, screw it, I'm cutting my losses here. And obviously, if I would have waited until like just now and like this giant candle happened, I could have maybe got out at a little better price. But so I took a slight loss on there because of the taxes or whatever. But I'm almost back with the back to peg campaign rewards from Frozen Walrus. So it's going to be about a wash there for me. So luckily I'm making up for that. But dang, look at that green candle on Astro. I just missed that by like 12 hours.
12 hours is an eternity in DeFi.
I know.
It really is.
I had to go to the airport and stuff today, so like I couldn't be at my charts. Like I like to have my charts going, and if something happens like that, I would have hopped on it in 2 seconds, right? But I walked away from the computer, man, and things got crazy. But so okay, go ahead. What were you about to ask, Enrique?
No, so American Money did make an interesting point about the cult leaders, since a lot of people say that's like a cult with Sim, and that's actually a fair point. Like, I mean, that's it is. It's a fair point. Something definitely worth bringing up. Crypto Night. Why can't you guys tell it as it is? Fear 100 Days, Titano. They are done. Let's move on. Try and find another concept. Stop dreaming. It's pathetic. Hey, I like this.
Well, all right. I will say, no. I totally like that. So I will say, right. That's why I say these are super risky plays that at the end of the day, you're betting on the team. And I'm not trying to like be hopium or anything like that. I'll definitely say if a project is dead or not. You know, I've taken many losses, but for me personally, and again, yeah, absolutely, it's subjective because I'm invested into it, right?
Right.
And I'm not trying to like dream or anything like that. I'm just objectively saying what their roadmaps are. And if they don't follow through, yeah, it's going to be a loss. But if they do follow through, it's a pretty lucrative gain, right? I think there will be a lot of, upwards momentum in the price when they have all this stuff set in place. But, you know, it is what it is. We're just taking gambles. This isn't the stock market. These are currencies, right? It's a cryptocurrency. It's not a share of something.
No, this is high
so
volatility.
It just operates.
Yeah. So to Crypto Night, though,
crazy.
I feel like you didn't hear. Alex and I basically said we're not touching it. I
tried to speculatively trade it, and I got
TA
wrecked.
looks like ass on it. Like Crypto Night. What else could I have said? I thought I was pretty clear that I wouldn't touch Sphere right now.
At least he was nice at the end and said, "Love y'all."
I missed that. Thanks,
too,
Crypto Night.
And I just want to say, like, this is not, just try not to get married to any project or asset, right? Yeah. Like, we're out here to make money, and these are, currencies, like we're Forex traders or something, right? Like, yeah, you want to buy low, sell high, and yes, you could be, use some fundamental analysis on the teams. Like Austin, he's kind of doing like some longer term value investing based on his fundamental analysis of the teams. And that's totally fine. And somebody maybe like me and Enrique here are looking at those charts without as much fundamental knowledge as Austin has, but we're looking at it from a TA side and saying, and like you're saying, you're with Sphere, it's like catching a falling knife right now. But again, if there's some like huge breaking news that we don't know, the fundamentals change, that could affect it as well. So I don't want to talk about what I don't know. I'm not married to those projects.
And
you know,
and I will agree with Crypto Knight. He just said, he or she, they said, the thing is, these projects need new investors. Who in the right mind would invest right now? I even said that, right? If you're a new investor, absolutely.
No
I
fresh
personally
loans.
would not get into it, or I would never, like, I've told people this too. I'm not personally putting fresh capital into any of these super degen plays. I have a ton in stable farms, USD plus, things that have stable assets tied to them. I'm still like putting a very, very minimal amount into risky stuff. But yeah, I totally agree with you. Like, Titano, Sphere in 100 days, I would kind of argue, because where they're not a rebasing project anymore, they don't need to feed those rebases with the taxes. So they're just like a buy and hold. But absolutely, Titano, what are some other ones? EMP, like all these projects still, where they're still new in the financial realm, they need new investors to kind of propel themselves until they're completely detached from investor volume, where they have that revenue just passively coming in. I'll totally agree with you. Yeah. Totally.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
and-
DeFi is just incredibly volatile and risky.
Yeah.
A very, very small percentage of your investment money should be in DeFi. It just should. If you have a high percentage of what you have in DeFi, you're doing it wrong. You need to reassess and be a lot less risk on. You really, really should, especially in these bearish times. I cannot stress that enough. And I know that it's easy to think, oh, I had this one huge month, everything went great. I 4x my complete, whatever it is that I have in crypto because of DeFi, and then you get kind of stuck. And it's no different than someone kind of brought up Vegas. It is like, Alex, you call it the casino all the time, don't you?
Yeah,
You call
when I came out here and I started looking at like FTC things and like how you kind of can talk about things and stuff on YouTube, I try to just tell people like these are not regulated securities, right? You have no hand holding, no guide rails on any of this stuff. It's so high risk. It's the wild, wild west. It's a casino. Look at every DeFi project basically is a casino game, and the team as the table dealer, right? And it's like that dealer at any time could just like take all the chips off the table and like run off on you, and then you're just like super out of luck. And then you go,
honestly, I think you have better odds in a casino because it's more.
Yeah, the
because
house edge.
The dealer can't actually take your chips legally.
Casinos are regulated unless you're in some like back alley, but like casinos are regulated. Yeah, so you might have better odds, and the house edge on these games. And if you know how to play like blackjack perfectly, then you can get that house edge, and then you can get on a winning streak, and you could walk away that night with some money in your pocket. But then another night, just because of the odds, you might walk away down some. In crypto, you could YOLO onto a project that you think is going to 2x in a week or something, and then you get rug pulled and you lose everything, and then you have to explain to your wife where all the money went. And then it's just like, look, but I got this MDB NFT and it's like doubled in value. And then she's just like, I don't understand what you're saying, but please,
it's doubled in value.
Don't play with the mortgage.
Yeah,
money.
But we can't see that money anytime soon. It's an interesting conversation. So Crypto Night beat me to something that I did want to ask you guys about, and it's really interesting.
God.
This whole Grizzly thing. I've been tracking
Grizzly
it daily.
though. Not Grizzly Fi, right?
No, well, I wanted to ask about Grizzly Fi. No, is that Grizzly? Yeah, Grizzly Honey. That's the one with the.
I think Crypto Night's talking about Grizzly Bear Tomb Fork.
Grizzly Bear Finance.
Okay, I was going to bring up Grizzly Fi.
Okay, let's talk about both.
Okay, so I was going to bring up the one. You guys tell me. I feel pretty clueless about this. The one that had like 20,000 in, and then 20,000 out, and then 80,000 in, and 92,000 out. And it got up to like $300 a token. Now it's at 192. What is going on there? What is this? Is this legit? It just feels like some kind of mirage.
I think
it's artificial. Like,
yeah. Go ahead, Austin.
No. Someone brought this. Someone in my Discord. Because I get DMs all the time like, hey, Austin, can you look at this project, whatever? And I joined their Discord. I was looking through it. They have like, oh my God, like they got like what, $23 million in TVL or something like that, like when they launched, or some crazy high. Dude, you can't tell me some of it's artificial. You can't. It's crazy.
The transactions are huge. They're like like $300,000 transactions and stuff. Like, you'd never see that in DeFi, not right now, at least.
Yeah.
And
so, no institutional investor is going to be going into Grizzly Fi, like a new project in a bear market with
they're staking
20 G's at a time.
Their staking platform's called the Honeypot. Are you kidding me? Is that like, are they being ironic? I can't tell.
They might be. They might be.
They said, you know what? How can we make a project around Honeypot and troll everybody?
I know.
Grizzly bears. Winnie the Pooh.
The volume's 11 million last 24 hours.
Oh. And can I tell you?
You can't tell me that's organic.
And and call me completely off base and uneducated on this, because I haven't had time to dig deep into it. But I've been seeing people talking about it in all the different circles we run in. And my favorite thing about this so far was somebody with a conspiracy theory that because Tornado Cash is gone, people are using this to move money through, and that's why we're seeing these crazy huge transactions and incredible volume. That's a conspiracy theory. I have no proof, no evidence. I have nothing on that other than I like the fairy tale.
Let's see, Grizzly Honey, 11 million.
I don't know,
dude. You can't tell me, bro.
It's crazy, dude. And like the APRs on their stablecoin hives are just crazy, dude.
Oh, by the way, I found out this week that legally we're not supposed to say APRs or APYs. We're supposed to say annual rewards.
Good to know.
Annual, really?
Yeah.
Good to know.
A very legit source told me that. So I was
annual rewards from my favorite gambling games.
There we go.
So
start using it.
So guys, so bear is something else? I'm so confused.
Oh, dude. All right. So there was a tomb fork called Grizzly Bear Finance, I think. And so one of my friends was like, hey, get in this. A few days ago, he's like, the node APRs are like 40 to 50% right now. And I'm like, oh, crap. And you know how that stuff is. You try to get in first and get out first with your ROI. Not like, I don't push or promote any of this crap, but I was just like super degen. I threw a couple $100 in there and I almost ROI'd on those nodes. I ended up like $200 down before some real fishy business happened. And it just was like, it was ugly. And I don't know. I don't trust the narrative around it personally. Maybe I'm just a little butthurt about the $200 I lost, but I just think like either it was terrible management of a tomb fork or there was something fishy going on. Either way, like it's really hard to prove it with this kind of stuff, but like I aped in, got wrecked. And luckily I didn't get too wrecked. Like I almost ROI'd on it, but I still lost a couple $100. That still hurts. But something was weird about it. Do you want me to tell you the story? Sure. I can tell you the timeline of events if you guys haven't heard it before. Enrique, did you read the timeline of events that somebody posted the other day?
No.
Okay.
I traveled this week, so I feel like I'm out of the loop with all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and you know me, I love tomb forks but there's so many that are rugs these days. Like it seems like they're super easy to fork and then people take advantage of that. But so somebody posted this the other day, all right? And I'm not making any accusations. I'm not saying this is proof of anything, but this is kind of how things went down. The timeline of events. A whale buys, a message was sent from the team via the blockchain to the whale. First off, do you guys know how to check your blockchain messages?
No.
I seen that.
How do you do that?
I seen that. I thought that was weird too.
Weird as hell,
I don't know.
And, all right. So first off, right off the bat,
via the blockchain.
Right off the bat, I don't buy that. That's like a Brian Legend statement. I'm like, I don't buy that at all. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I don't. It's like Brian saying some guy with
We
some
broke a private
some
key with
ASIC
Bitcoin miners.
Bitcoin miners hacked somebody's wallet. I'm like, that's not possible. First off, technically, so I don't know what you're talking about. It's the same with this. Like, nobody checks their. It's not like I got a text message on the blockchain, you guys. Like, they have to like decode this stuff. They have to see the transaction first off, like come in and like it's not no. All right. So a message was sent via blockchain to the whale. All right. By the way, I'm not saying this is not true. I'm saying I don't believe it.
I don't
All right.
believe it.
All right. So they say a whale creates a Discord account with the username of his wallet address and responds almost right away. They broker a deal based on trust and no logic over the counter with a shit ton of tokens. And then the team publicly encourages noding. They tell everyone in the community to get into these nodes and they jack up the APR on them to lure people into them. And then the team randomly announces 1.3 peg pump. So for whatever reason, the team's like, we're going to pump this thing 30% over peg when they were already over peg. The boardroom was already printing. So they're just like, let's just use our treasury and our peg defender bot to just like blast this thing to 1.3. And then the whale cashes out and they don't turn off the peg defender until it's drained. And then they go silent for a while. They lock the funds up. They say they're talking to other protocols and have a big plan. And the big plan is to encourage everyone to break their liquidity pair tokens and stake them in nodes. And then randomly, yet again, they pump the peg, drain the remaining liquidity, and then go, oh, well, it was bad actors. We tried.
Oh.
And I watched this whole thing happening. I'm like, I just need that last $200 from the nodes, you guys. Just stop it with this nonsense. So I don't know, man.
I don't see how anyone could believe that.
And I have friends in there too who lost money. Like a bunch of us lost some money on that one. And I don't know. It felt like shenanigans, you know?
It definitely sounds like shenanigans. Mr. Pringle said something really funny. I can't get into some of these projects with the weird, crazy names. It's funny because I did a video on, I think it was Snowy Owl months and months ago, maybe like 5 months ago, or Arctic Fox or one of them. One of those kind of funny names. And in my video, I showed my balances and I had like 5 or 6K in there. And I actually got people that are friends of mine that were like, dude, you have that much money in this weird animal-based name token. What is wrong with you? Are you okay? Like, should we be worried about you?
Look at the chat. Look at Lame Hillbilly right now.
Oh my god.
For those who don't know, Lame Hillbilly got thrust into like a leadership position from the communities to like take those over and try to salvage it, right? That's my understanding.
So there you go, Lame Hillbilly. I was definitely supporting your protocols. I was in there. I think both of them. So yeah, it was just funny how people that were like not at all knowledgeable about DeFi were just like, this is insane. What are these names? What are you doing? That's really funny. He just came in. What timing?
That's hilarious.
That is funny. That is really funny.
I'm sorry. I still can't get over this $11 million volume thing with Grizzly Fi. I can't. It's pinging around in my head, right? So I'm sitting here on CoinMarketCap looking at like what is like volume of a 24-hour of like coins and tokens that are like in the top like 10 and 100 on like, you know, CoinMarketCap, like the top tokens. So I'm sitting here looking, right? Kronos, a major Y number 25 right now on CoinMarketCap, $17 million in 24 hours volume. You mean to tell me that this DeFi project has organically made $11 million in volume in the last 24 hours, which is almost a little over half of what Kronos, a blockchain and crypto.com, you know, like has made. You can't
That's a great point,
me, bro.
Yeah,
like,
no, that's a great comparison.
My gut feeling, like going off nothing else, but my intuition tells me something's funny there.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, and I'm sure people are going to make money on it. I am sure
they have.
A bunch of our friends have already made money on it, but still, it gives me a funny feeling about it. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, but
Yep.
they got in early, super early, and yeah, they did quite well. So
Yeah.
I want to ask you guys something that kind of came up this week that I was asked about, so I went and checked it out for myself. So apparently, Gala Games, you guys all know Gala. They've been doing this kind of marketing thing with a huge YouTube channel called Crypto Banter, and apparently they're doing this thing where during the Crypto Banter they show a video, and it looks like Gala is going to get into video or kind of like studios and videos and movies, and they're doing some kind of node thing. And Crypto Banter is like, I guess, promoting it. And I thought it was interesting that that happened. It kind of reminded me of when they started when people were telling me, well, that's who was promoting Luna really hard. So is this common, guys, like where a project aligns itself with a huge YouTube channel and they just kind of, it seems like it's a daily thing where they kind of are basically trying to do something together. And I was looking at it and it's helping. Gala's, volume, 24-hour volumes over 200 million. So it's obviously helping. It wasn't that high when I was tracking it earlier. And but it's still, I think, a horrible investment right now. I mean, their circulating supply is only at like 20% of their total supply. Like, think about all the sell pressure that's going to come to this asset. So I don't like Gala at all. I would not touch it right now at all. But guys, is this common? Is that something that you guys have heard of a lot?
Yeah, I get approached by some projects like that. By the way, thank you, Mr. Pringles, my dude, Aaron out here. He's super good, dude. He just threw us a super chat.
Oh,
Appreciate
sweet.
you.
Hey,
Thanks.
Appreciate
Mr.
you, brother.
Pringles. Thanks,
Our first
bro.
super
You're
chat
our
ever.
you are the first podcast super
I know,
chat.
that's so cool.
Heck yeah.
He's been around.
We are
I've known that dude for
somewhere.
6 months plus now. He's super solid
Oh,
guy.
really?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. We'll have to put something on there to celebrate this.
So I've had a few projects approach me about doing some kind of partnership or like ambassadorship for their projects long term, where like I would basically keep my audience updated on how the project's doing over time and things like that. I've been approached by a few projects like that. I've turned some down. I've also considered some. I guess it really depends on the risk levels, that I see with those projects. So I don't know. I might consider doing something like that at some point. What about you guys?
Well, hold on. Croc just one upped
Croc,
Mr. Pringles
thanks,
by
bro.
2x. Thanks, man. Really appreciate that.
I haven't talked to Croc in a while. Thanks, man.
To answer your question, I mean, I think we've all had that kind of thing come up. I mean, I did something like that with the High Point back in the day when I thought it had a lot of potential, where I was updating everyone on High Point monthly, weekly. But this felt different to me because it was like a video and it's such a, big stage. They have like almost like 1 million subscribers, if I remember correctly.
Oh, wow.
And Gala's just a huge, name. So I'd never seen anything like that before. It just kind of caught me off guard. But yeah, Croc, Mr. Pringles, thanks, guys. Awesome. We need to divvy it. I need to send you guys money since the super chat's probably going to me somehow. I don't even know how to grab
not,
it.
bro.
Yeah, thank you guys. That's super cool. This is fun,
Bro,
man.
now because I watch Graham Stephan's Iced Coffee Hour like all the time religiously. They have a podcast and they do kind of like this too, where they put it on YouTube. And I love their intros to everything, where every single episode they'll talk about how much money their podcast has made before each episode. So now we can finally say this podcast has made $15 whole dollars, baby. We are raking it in.
We need to come up with
Awesome.
something cool though, like where we kind of like
Something cool.
Yeah, like where we kind of do some kind of giveaway.
Yeah, what if we split it 4 ways and the 4th person is the community?
Ooh, I like that. And we once a week, once a month? Once a month. That's
Once a month,
juicy.
probably.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, right now we probably aren't cash flowing too much, so we'll make it once a month.
Yeah, once a month.
Thank you for watching. We're gonna give away $2.50.
Well, right now, Croc,
you guys.
Right now, Croc is the top donator.
Dude.
So shout out to Croc. Oh no, we just got it. Mr. Pringle said you're not gonna one up me, Croc.
What is YouTube? This is crazy. Thank you, Aaron.
That is awesome.
You guys
Thanks,
are
man.
you guys are so cool, man.
Well, listen, full transparency. So Croc and I have some disagreements, but I do appreciate you, Croc.
Yeah, I've talked to Croc a lot in the past. I like the guy. He's always been cool with me.
Seriously, he says. That's very cool.
Man,
Thanks, guys.
I love our viewers. They're awesome. This is just fun. I'm glad you guys asked me to do this with you.
You know what I think? You know what I think next week's episode should be?
What's that?
What?
So because where we're kind of getting into this weird like bear/temporary bull market, because I totally EAM crypto, and we were talking about this before the podcast started, where we were talking about kind of like how we may still have some bleeding to do in the market. Is I don't know how everybody else's portfolios are as far as like the passive income DeFi projects goes, but I think we should kind of talk about what do we do with this passive income in the crypto world, like, and how do we divvy it up, right? Like, how do we take profits, put some aside for taxes, obviously, do we put it into stocks, real estate? Like, how do we like diversify where we're taking money out of a super risky asset and plugging it into something more sustainable and long-term, like real estate stocks, or maybe a personal business or something like that? I think that'd be a really good episode.
I agree. I mean, there's so many different ways that can go.
Enrique's got, he talked about his great strategy with that last week. I'm actually talking with a project. I got to go over some paperwork with them, but like they're a legit hedge fund that's trying to get into DeFi and give exposure to retailers and stuff like that. I'm going over the paperwork. I don't want to say any names yet until I've done a little more due diligence, but I might, do some videos with them, but they're not like the super high yearly rewards,
annual rewards,
gambling games that I'm used to.
Annual rewards from these casinos.
They're like 23 to 43% annual rewards. But they're like a hedge fund that's trying to give exposure through DeFi to people. So I'm looking into that one, and I'm thinking like I would take some of my profits from like my Tomb Fork crazy plays and stuff like that, and kind of roll them into kind of like a hedge fund managed thing. And I could keep it in DeFi that way, so I wouldn't have to it wouldn't get as confusing for me come tax time. But then also I'm working out like the tax situation with trying to off ramp the funds into my bank account and how to track all this stuff. So I think that's a great topic. We should really go over that. I think a lot of people are asking that this year, especially with the IRS hiring 80,000 new agents.
Well, I will say, and this is not tax advice, because I want to leave everybody here with some value that I want them to go research for themselves. Is I talked to my tax person, and also you can find this online. It's pretty H&R Block and TurboTax, I think, did an article on it where they talked about DeFi staking rewards, DeFi yield farm rewards.
Really?
Like they actually go into these and how they classify them. Now, again, this is not tax advice. I am not a tax professional. Please look in I can't emphasize this enough. Okay. For me personally, okay, this is what I'm going to be doing, because this is what my tax expert, okay, the guy that does my taxes every single year, and this is what H&R Block has on their article, is that rewards that you get through yield farming, staking rewards, anything that's like residual when it comes to putting your token somewhere, it can be counted right now as ordinary income. So as everybody knows, ordinary income is taxed way less than capital gains. And then if you, of course, make a trade, if you, so for instance, here's a scenario, right? For me personally, this is not advice. So if I were to stake token A, okay, token A onto a yield farm where that token A is a volatile asset, it's not a stable coin, and I'm getting token A residual rewards. So those rewards that I'm getting are taxed as ordinary income, which is the lower tax that you get, just your basic, income level. But then once I withdraw that initial investment out and say the price went up and I also cash it on that appreciation profit, the appreciation of that is capital gains tax that I'm going to be allocating. But the actual residual rewards, thanks to the blockchain, okay, and this is where I told people cointracker.io, it's amazing for breaking down tax reports and stuff like that for you. It's a little premium. I think it's like $500 if you want the complete report made for you. But I used it last year. I'm going to be using it this year and moving forward until I find something else better. But that's the two distinctive indicators that I'm personally going to be doing, taking advice from my tax person, is capital gains for anything where I'm withdrawing the rewards and I get a price cap appreciation on it from the price going up and down. But the residual income that I get, the residual rewards, not income, will be taxed as ordinary income. So that's what I'm going to be doing.
Good God, that's
coming next year.
That's the use case for auto compounding right there. Think about it.
It's definitely intimidating for taxes.
In DeFi it is.
But it is good news for a lot of people, because a lot of people were probably thinking everything is probably just going to be like capital gains or some super high tax. But if anybody that isn't tax savvy, ordinary income is taxed just in your normal income bracket here in America anyways, and it's taxed way lower than capital gains. So that's good news for me, and hopefully anybody else that does their own research with taxes.
And before we wrap up, I know you guys got to get going here soon, but somebody did in Nat Chat. If you guys are all in Nat Chat, right? Lady Boss Nat's server, the old Titan server that got decommissioned, and then she took it over. And anyway, Ewick in Nat Chat asked us if we could, if he could hear our thoughts on Kyoto protocol. And I am currently in Kyoto.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I totally forgot to even talk about that.
Yeah, I didn't want to forget that before we go, because we said we would touch on that.
Well, Suzanne Harvey brought it up too. I was about to state that. Suzanne just asked.
Yep, Suzanne, I am in Kyoto. I've got not a ton. I'm not a whale or anything, but I've got a significant amount, over $100, I think, in there. And it's a super high, so their first year is their tokenomics, their token distribution mechanism. So their whole like 900% APY or, yearly reward thing is not like a typical rebasing. This is their token distribution phase for the first year. And then those tokens become the layer 1 governance token and gas token on their layer 1 blockchain they're developing. So they're going to have a carbon credit centric layer 1 blockchain, which is going to act as a liquidity layer for carbon credit liquidity that has been bridged on chain. And they are going to have carbon credit markets on each blockchain, like Near Protocol, Binance, whichever ones they build. They're going to build carbon credit marketplaces on each one. So that way people can onboard carbon credits and bridge them from each different blockchain out there. And then they can trade those synthetic carbon credits, speculate on them, whatever, but also projects and the networks themselves can get, they can lower their carbon credit emissions to hit their regulations by buying up carbon credits and using those to offset their own carbon credit emissions. Anyway, so they're going to build out those marketplaces over the next year while the tokens are being distributed through the 900,000% APY. It's going to, they have X amount of tokens they want to distribute. So they calculate it out in 1 year. What percentage do we need to release them every epoch to get all of the tokens distributed to people who are interested? And then after that first year, boom, their layer 1 should be ready. They're actually moving faster. They're ahead of schedule, I last heard, and they're currently giving away validator and master nodes in a big giveaway contest worth like $400,000. So if anybody's trying to get hooked up, if somebody wins that, they're going to be balling out probably in less than a year's time. So $400,000 giveaway going on right now. Check that out. I know you guys are laughing because I'm probably talking really fast and talking a lot all at once. And I'm going to pass it off to you guys.
No, that was amazing.
No, I was laughing at Crypto Knight. He said, because I don't know how Crypto Knight said this, because this is the evils of text. He says, let's look at Kyoto's chart. Yep, looks fantastic. Sarcasm.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
Oh man, I'm hooked.
That's the thing. You guys got to know, it's super inflationary. So the price is going to go down over the next year. So if you watch my large review I did on it, I had 3 strategies. You buy early and you hope that the rebases make up for the price decrease. Or you can, my other strategy was buy like a month or a month and a half before their first carbon credit marketplace launches, because you might see a pump on the news there and you'll still get the rebases during that time. And then you could also buy like month 11 or 12 right before they go to the blockchain. This is just me, by the way, not financial advice. But
Yeah.
this is just my personal strategies looking at this thing. So I got a couple tokens that I'm just going to let rebase all the way to that layer 1. But even if the price goes down to like a couple, like this is crazy, right? But a couple cents by the end of the year, if you have one token, it turns into 9,000 tokens. So you end up with, 9,000 times, let's say it goes down to like 10 cents. So you buy one token, let's say it turns into 9,000, let's say that's like $900. But then when their layer 1 blockchain launches, let's look at like AVAX and Avalanche. When AVAX launched, when Avalanche lost, AVAX went crazy, right? Like 100x, 1000x or something like that. So if Kyoto's down to like a few cents and then their layer 1 launches and that becomes a gas token that's going around in the validator and master nodes, what if that goes to $1 then all of a sudden you have 900 tokens times 10, that could be $9,000 from an initial investment of like what, $15 for one token at launch. So it's, again, if you're looking at the fundamentals, you have to know the technicals on it so you understand your risk exposure for that level of inflation over a year. But you can look at different ways to position yourself if you're looking to get into it. But you got to know, like, it's super inflationary, so the price is going to look.
Yeah.
It's a Yieldzilla fork, by the way, the code. So Yieldzilla's chart, blue. But again, Yieldzilla didn't have the use case that Kyoto has. They have an actual like business plan. They're
lame hillbilly says, do they have an effing plane though?
They could, dude. They've got like they got a grant for like $25 million or like, and they got all this venture capital. So they're backed by big money. They could probably buy a plane if they wanted to.
And Lame Hillbilly actually came in late. He didn't listen to us when we were talking about how well Frozen Walrus is doing. So you missed all that, Lame Hillbilly. It's not that we didn't mention that. You missed it.
What's the CEO's salary?
And Croc, I said 9,000. I said 10 cents, not 1 cent. So 9,000 by 10 cents would be like 900 in my example I was talking about. Yeah. So anyway, Ewick wanted to know what our thoughts were, what we thought as potential risks. And I think the potential risks are the tokenomics of it, because it's super inflationary. So if you're looking to speculate on price, know that the price is probably going to go down. So you're going to be looking at the rebasing rate versus the price. And if you know how to speculate and trade on those, that's something to look at. But if you're looking at it long term, like as a layer 1 blockchain move, like a lot of Seifu folks, right? A lot of Seifu maxis out there, super bullish on the Seifu X layer 1 blockchain. I don't know what you guys think about all that.
Well, can I say something, Alex? Because it's okay not to be invested in a project at a certain time that you believe in long term. It's okay to wait for a value spot. It's okay to be patient.
Yes.
So
do not FOMO.
Yeah, but seriously, don't feel like, oh, well, I really like this project. I really like what they're doing. This sounds like it has a ton of potential. So let me just get in now, because you never know. It's okay to wait and be patient. That's nothing wrong. Like, I mean, I just showed the chart. That's a falling knife right now. I like the Kyoto guys. I like the team. I like the vision. But that is a falling knife right now. And what do we not do when we're investing or trading or degenning? You don't catch falling knives. You just don't. Great project, but yeah, that chart looks like complete and utter.
That's what I was saying.
Disaster.
One of my strategies personally is to at month 11 or 12, right before their blockchain launches, I'm probably going to scoop some up and then try to speculate on a layer 1 blockchain launch like AVAX did. And so that's a play. But some people might not have a bunch of money to scoop a bunch up then. So some people who got in at pre-sale, though, like I said, one token becomes 9,000 by the end of the year. So, run your calculations and look for those value spots that make sense for you individually. So that's, So those, I just tried to lay out a bunch of information, and I want you guys to make your own decisions on all that stuff. I'm kind of middle road. I think fundamentally, it's a super cool project. But if you're trying to trade this speculatively, be careful.
Yeah.
No, it's what Enrique said to end everybody on some more value, right? I love ending live streams on like value is do not let yourself let the message, like if you're sitting in on an AMA, if you're watching a video, if you're reading a white paper, if you're in a Discord, don't let yourself, just because you agree with the mission of the project, think that that agreement to the project is also an entry point. Those are two separate things. You can think a project is solid and agree with the team, but it's still financially for you may not make sense to enter into the project right now. Just like Alex said, right? He got some tokens and he's writing it out, but you could also, if it made financially sense for your personal financial situation, you may still love the carbon credits idea and the agreement and the mission with Kyoto, but you may wait until month 11 before they cut off rebases, or month 12, or just cut off rebases altogether, and then that may make financial sense for you. So don't let this tribalism mindset that crypto has make it to where, oh, you don't believe in us, well, why aren't you buying? No, that buying and making a financial decision and agreeing with a project is two totally different things. So I want to end on that.
Great point, man. Excellent point.
Yeah, I think we should end it right there. We can't do better than that.
I agree. Very eloquently.
Well, hey, I just want to thank one more time. I want to thank Croc and Mr. Pringles. Thank you all so much for the super chats. And we have had like 16, 15 viewers consistently throughout this. That is like already more than we had on the first podcast. So like this really does, like, obviously it feeds our egos a little bit as content creators, but it really does motivate us to let us know we're doing something right. So, drop us a like after this, because the public chats will disappear. Drop a comment, like, what could we do better on? What would you like to see in the future episodes? Because I think this podcast has a ton of potential to have just some objective views on just anything money, DeFi, money, when it comes to just real estate, personal finances, whatever. So thank you all so much for coming on here.
We all have a lot of the similar questions. And a lot of times you don't want to ask because you feel like maybe it's a silly question or something like that. But we noticed that last week. We all have some of the same questions where, like, we think it might be a silly question, and then it's like, oh wait, everyone has this question. So we're all trying to figure this out together.
For sure.
And anybody in the comments, if you have any comments on what we talked about on any subject today, put them down in the comments. I'd love to hear people's thoughts. If you agree or disagree, if you have things to add, throw it in the comments. And I think every episode we should start out by saying any projects we talk about, any strategies we talk about, give us your thoughts in the comments after the show. And then that way we can kind of go through them later and talk, like we can get together later and talk about the comments and see, if we can get more ideas,
Mm-hmm. All right. Yeah. Well, guys, thank you so much. Seriously, thank you for watching. Mr. Pringles and Croc, you guys are legends now.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah. First 2 donators, baby. Let's go. Episode 3 next week.
All right, everyone. Take care.
Every Friday.
Every Friday. Bye.
Have a good day, everyone.